Hey everyone, Nick here and welcome back to GamerTube, and welcome back to our Bendy and the Dark Revival character concept series. So in today's video, the character looking into is the secret Easter egg character that we see in the start of the game. So it isn't very clear on who this character is or what they are, but we're going to speculate on what they could be, who they are, and what their role would be in a future game. Also throughout this video, we'll just be calling this character the secret character, but if you think you know their name or you've got a cool name for them, then comment down below. And as always, I will just say that this isn't definitive what will actually happen in a future game, nor is this definitive what this character will look like or who they are as well. This is just a fun what if scenario and a fun custom twist that we've put on the character and what we think they might be, but it isn't exactly what it will be. And lastly, before we start today's video, do be sure to subscribe to GamerTube as it helps out a lot and is greatly appreciated. It also keeps you up to date with the videos that we post. Alrighty everyone, well, let's get into the character concept of the secret character. So previously in our Bendy and the Dark Revival character concept series, we've looked at a few different characters. We first theorised on some of the characters that we saw from the trailer and what their role would be in the game. But now the game is released, those questions have now been answered. We also looked into one of our original characters called Mr. Croaks, and we made them a custom story inside the world of Bendy and the Dark Revival. But now we come to another character. This character actually appears in the game, but only for a few brief seconds. They appear as an Easter egg at the start of the game. The player needs to collect 3 balls that are scattered around the office and toss them into Wilson's mop bucket. Once the player has done this task, then a funny little character will emerge from the bucket. They appear to be a goofy looking dinosaur of some sort. And on closer inspection, it appears to be a sock puppet from the bands around its neck. It's not very clear, but it could be someone's hand and arm coming out of the bucket as well. So who exactly is this mysterious secret character? Could they just be a funny little Easter egg, or a nod to a potential new character in the future? So if they were an actual cartoon character from Joey Drew's studio, then what would they exactly be? My guess would be a goofy looking Tyrannosaurus Rex. And I'm sure some of you have already noticed that this character is in full colour. They can be seen with a bright pink body and blue spikes protruding all down their back. This character may have been the first attempt at making a full coloured character at the studio. Considering that the original Bendy black and white cartoons debuted in 1929, and the first ever coloured cartoon was published in 1932, the studio wasn't very far off from making coloured cartoons a reality. But as stubborn as old Joey was, he insisted that they stay with the black and white classic colour scheme for many years to come. So sadly, this funny looking dinosaur character would have to shed their colours if they wanted to be featured in an episode. Eventually the character was put in an episode, but sadly it never aired. The episode was named Two-Tooth Tapping. It featured Bendy travelling back through time and finding himself in the prehistoric era. He travelled back in time to get some tap dancing lessons from a funny tap dancing T-Rex. Unfortunately, the episode and the character didn't test very well with audiences, so they never got any screen time and they also remained nameless. Because of this episode's name, some of the animators nicknamed them Two-Tooth. But regardless of their name, this poor tap dancing T-Rex never got their chance. The animator who made this lovable goofy character took this really hard. Sure, characters never see the light of day all the time, but they grew overly attached to them. So much that they tried to bring them to life with the ink machine. But as we all know, the ink machine doesn't always produce perfect copies. And what the machine produced this time was far from perfect. What came out of the machine was a deadly sharp-toothed creature. In fact, their 2 front teeth have been swapped out with many razor-sharp teeth. And their blue lumps and bumps down their back have now turned into large spines that pierce through their inky skin. What was once a lovable goofy character has now turned into a deadly killing machine. Their transformation changed quite a few things, but one thing that stayed was their large tap dancing shoes. Whenever they roamed around the halls, everyone could hear their feet tapping as they walked, and everyone knew to stay well away. So now, let's get into if they were a boss character in a potential game. As I don't know the ending yet and what happens to Audrey, I'll just address the main protagonist as the player. So whilst the player is roaming down the halls, they can hear the sound of tapping in the distance. As they get further down the hall, the tapping gets louder and louder. Finally, they reach the end. They see the monstrous character staring right back at them. They pause for a moment with their strange snake-like tongue wiggling out of their mouth. They look for a little longer, and then the creature charges straight towards them. The player needs to quickly run away and avoid being attacked. An attack from the secret character would result in an instant death. The only way the player has a chance of beating them is by stunning them and attacking them from the back. All around this area would be steam pipes that would vent the piping hot steam. The player needs to lure the secret character into the stream of steam in order to stun them. Once they've been stunned, the player now has a short amount of time to attack. The way in which they need to attack is by knocking off all the spines that are protruding off the character's back with their gent pipe. Once they knock off all the spines, that's when they would be defeated. So the player needs to run around and repeat the process of stunning them with the steam, and then knocking loose the spines on their back. Slowly but surely, the player would start to knock out all the spines. Finally, when the player knocks loose the last one, they freeze for a moment. Then they collapse into a puddle of ink on the floor. Finally, the battle would be over. Or so they thought. The player has to quickly go around and smash all those spines to bits. If they don't, they'll slowly come back together and generate another secret character again. When the player has finished smashing them all, then the battle would well and truly be over. They can now continue escaping this cartoonish hellscape, ready and waiting to take on whatever next comes their way. So I think the inclusion of the secret character would be pretty interesting to see in a future game. Their gameplay would be pretty tense and frightening to go up against. But whether or not this little Easter egg character actually leads anywhere is anyone's guess. It could be a brand new character we'll see in the future, or it could just be a little nod and an Easter egg that the developers placed in the game. I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens in the next game. Considering there's been so many awesome new characters included in Bendy and the Dark Revival, who knows what we'll see next. Hopefully we get a variation of a dinosaur character, or something similar to what we see in Wilson's Mop Bucket. But until then, I'm sure there's plenty of time until the next game. And that means there's just more guessing we'll have to do, and coming up with new characters that we could possibly see in the next game, so be sure to stay tuned. Alrighty everyone, well, that's what we have for today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please consider leaving a like, commenting and subscribing, as it helps out a lot and it's greatly appreciated. And as always, leave a comment down below what you thought of the secret character and what you'd like to see going forward. Alrighty everyone, well, to the next video, I'll catch you later, bye.